Welcome to Tofa TV, whereby we are an organization that is part to success. Today we have an amazing show lined up for you. First of all, I'd like to thank Vinoms International for lending us these premises, as well as Tuonge for powering this interview. As I have said, we have an amazing guest for you today. Some people call him Minor Mine. Kuna wengine wanamuita Alejandro, kuna wengine wanamuita Kevo, kuna wengine wanamuita Kevin Minor. So tutaacha jitambulishe.
Yes, as you've heard, my name is Kevin Minor, and thank you, John, for having me. I'm looking forward to this interview.
Wow, thank you, Kevin. So we'll get straight on to the questions so that we can know who this guy really is. So tell us about yourself, Kevin.
Yes, so like I said, my name is Kevin. I am first and foremost a student at KU University, Kenyatta University. I study communication and media, headed to third year. And on top of that, I am a podcast host. I am generally so passionate about media, and I write, I blog, I podcast, and many more that I may not mention, but yeah, anything to do with media, that's what I am.
Wow, nimesikia umetaja media sana.
Yeah,
so
man.
Kindly tell us about your journey as a, if I may call you, a media influencer.
Okay, so the journey ilianza, if I can remember when I think about it right now, ilianza when I was younger. So I was always passionate about speaking out, like just talking and being, this might sound bad, but being on the spotlight. Right? So yes, so I think that's where it started back when I grew up. Unajua careers zenye tulikuwa tunaambiwa like we're in the engineering or a doctor or whatnot. So it was never in my mind until I got to campus and I realized I pursue that as a course. So I decided, let me go to it. And then the passion was fueled when I realized I can even focus on it even while I'm still in school. Like you can start things like this, like an interview.
Yeah.
You can pursue it solo. So I think that's where generally the passion started, and I grew, and here's where we are.
Wow, such an inspiring story. That shows that whatever you do, you have the capability of succeeding in it, whatever the circumstances. So you've told us what inspired you to be a media influencer. How has your journey been so far? And before even you continue, when did you start this as a career for yourself? Yeah.
As a career, I'd say like there's no specific time I can recall when I just started. Like I said, it has been a journey, but let's say like to pursue the journey prolifically, we can say maybe the beginning of last year when I started my podcast, because that has been a platform that has changed the game and is still changing the game in Kenya. So idea previously ilikuwa to tell African stories. So that's why I started the platform, so that I can tell, because people need to hear these stories from wherever. So starting it was then prolifically. And then coming into this year, we are focused on even like writing, blogging and vlogging and just going through it. The journey itself has not been easy because we are not the first ones. Yeah, we're not the first ones, and kuna competition kwa industry, so it has not been easy at all. But I've always realized like what makes someone stands out is your uniqueness. So people will know this person and this person in media, but then they'll also know you personally because they're like, oh, this guy has something different. He's good as the other one, but there's something about him that you can tell is good. So that for me has been good.
Wow, I think one thing that has stood out for me is the part of uniqueness, because I always see people starting vlogs, and then unaona tu die out. So you encourage people to be unique in what they do. Wasikue tu general kwa sababu huyo anafanya hii because Kevin is doing a podcast, I should do a podcast about African stories. It will never work out. It should be something that is unique, right?
Yes, it should be something that's unique. And maybe to address your part and you like people give up. It's because someone looks at like you see like I have a podcast, and then you're like, I want to start a podcast like Kevin. And then you start it and it's not working out as Kevin's podcast, and then you give up. So you did not have your original idea. Okay. I think people should, even though you're starting something, because generally whatever we do, it's not an idea that we start. It's definitely something that's inspired by someone. I started my podcast because of Adele Onyango. So it's an idea inspired from her. But what you need to realize that you need to practice so hard until people think it's natural to you. So when you start, don't give up, just keep going until it's like, wow, tukisikia jina ya Kevin tunafikiria tu podcast or blog or whatnot.
So ningetaka tukukuuliza ni challenges gani umeface kwa hii journey yako ya kuwa media influencer?
First off, what I'd say is that the industry is tough. Like utaenda kwa msee in our day to day, utaenda kwa msee umwambie yo, I'm passionate about media in this regard, and the first thing they'll ask you, what do you have to show for it? That's first of all a challenge to us in this generation compared to, because people don't do anything. Watu wanadhanianga mimi nitamaliza shule and then niende nipate job. What I've realized to cope, because that's a challenge, the solution to that is like always have something. So most of the things that I create, it's not because I'm creating because of the mere fact that I'm passionate about it. It's also my portfolio. So mtu akikuja niambie, yo, you sound like you have a good voice for radio. Do you have anything to show for it? I present my podcast. We love you to write for the newspaper. Do you have anything to show for it? I present my blog. So that has been a challenge. Another challenge imekuwa trying to just get your place, like show people like this is where I want to be and give me a chance, because people will, it's a tough industry and people will not look at you on site and say, hey, wenyewe msiko talented, so you come on board. Zizi, kuna watu wana making kwa hizo sports with like networking and connections. So most definitely it's challenging when you already have all that and you're coming from ground zero trying to make it in the industry.
Wow. And we all know that with every challenge there's a success story that comes with it. So tuambie to some of the success stories you've been able to get so far.
Success story for me, everything is a success story. Even the fact that I'm here with you, it's a success story.
Wow.
Because that shows something. But success stories have been being able to, first of all, grow my audience. I have, especially this year, I've learned a lot in terms of digital media and marketing, and just being on the ground and even trying to influence people from the ground. It's very important. Something else that also happened to the podcast this year, we got a contract deal with Wilking Studios who power our episodes. So they take care of everything. My work is just to appear there, look good, and interview someone, which is good. But also in terms of like joining the nation as a young reporter, which is something that I've been working on. People always look and they'll text and say, Kevo, how do you do these things? How do you get your articles to the newspaper? How do you go to these events where nation held? Sometimes it's not, like I've said, it's not easy. If you look at my email, the number of people I email in probably a day, it worries me, because it might sound desperate, but these people keep tabs on you. They'll be like, yo Kevin, you emailed us last week. How about you come and do something? So people think it's just that I'm good at it. I'm not in any way even close to good, but I think it's the hard work behind it. So every time emailing people, trying to reach a wider audience. When I meet people, I tell them I'm a podcaster on set. Hata wajaniuliza, yo, ati jina yako ni Kevin? Yeah, I also have a podcast. Let me show you it is. So check it out and share it with your friends. So I think for me, those small tiny bits, they're the ones which produce massive results.
Wow. Hey, you can just see that with hard work there's a big success story behind it. So nimesikia umekuwa ukijaribu ku reach an audience among especially the youth, right? So how has been the youth response towards your work?
The youth response imekuwa positive, because imekuwa positive, both positive and negative. Of course there are people who do not. Personally, I know, because I decided to like focus my content on leadership, self-development, and basic growth. And there are people who saw me take that line and thought, some were my friends, but they pulled off because there's someone nakumbuka kuna mtu aliniambia like straight up, I don't vibe with your content. So you see it to me hizi vitu zako. It's a poa way, keep sharing, but not me.
You were literally told that.
Yeah, I was told. Wow. And that's a close friend. Like when msemi najua. So what I'd say is it has been both negative and positive. And when it comes from a close friend, it hurts you a bit, but you also appreciate the honesty. The positive side of it is that I've realized people don't consume your content simply because it's content. people consume it because they believe in what you're producing. So mtu ataona nimefanya kitu about how to deal with this or how to deal with that, and they'd be like, yo, I resonate with that one because I've gone through that. So they're not viewing the content because they like the content or because it's just content. It's because they resonate and believe in what you're producing. So that has been a lesson. So in that regard, it has been very positive because you're able to get 10 people who think like you, then get 10 other people who think like those 10 people, and then grow slowly as you go.
So we should, when you start something, you should expect negativity and positivity out of it, and you shouldn't let that negative vibe get to you. Right?
Most definitely, and even expect more negativity. You know, they say as you grow, the negativity also grows with you.
Yeah.
So one thing I always tell people, like, of all people in the world, you should be cautious of what you say to yourself. So you should be your biggest positive cheerleader, because if you have yourself and you really believe in that, I am say utenda mbali.
And we can just see it right now with you here.
Thank you, man.
Yes, yes. So umesema now you'll be in this journey in the long run.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, in 5 years time, unajiona wapi kwa industry?
5 years time. 5 years time, I can't lie, the dream is big, and I don't talk about it much, but I'll definitely, obviously, have cemented my place somewhere in this industry, cement my place. One of the biggest dreams is to influence as many people as I can, and especially young people, to see that, because I've also realized when you're pursuing your own journey, there's something about also inspiring people who are looking behind you. So kuna inspire us, say. So that's, for me, that's my biggest aim. And if I can serve, I always call it service, so it sounds cliche, but it's serving people. So if I can do that to more people and do it to more people, then for me that's a win in 5 years.
Wow. Thank you so much for meeting with us. We have to cut the interview short because you know watu kahawa kuna vitu kombele wanahitaji kufanya. So where can people find your content?
Everywhere Minor Mind. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on Google as well. Just type minormind.com and you'll find me there.
At YouTube?
At YouTube, Minor Mind.
Yes. So thank you, Kevin.
It's mad. If you know say you care, chant me a prayer. Don't even dare, leave me I swear.
Go over them problems, go over them costs.